Welcome to the All About Technology podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Burel, and in this episode, I'm joined by two of our senior support specialists, Curtis Holden. Hello.
Howdy.
Seth Moore.
Hi.
Welcome. What we're going to focus on this episode is talking about our tech support and some of the different things that we do for customers. We're going to touch on Microsoft Teams, which is something both these guys know quite a bit about, and just get to know them and try to share what we do here. We do a lot of cool stuff, and I think it is a good opportunity for us to showcase some of that. So let's start with some introductions. So we'll start with Curtis first. Tell us a little bit about where you're from, where you went to school, all that fun stuff.
I was born and raised in Montague. Went to MCC for a couple of years and graduated from Grand Valley, degree in computer science. Started working for CatchMark pretty soon after that. I've been there for 4 years.
Do you remember what you told me when you interviewed for your internship? When we asked you, what don't you want to do in the tech field?
Tech support.
Right. What do you do for us?
Tech support.
Right. I love Curtis. Seth, how about you?
So I was born and raised in Grand Rapids. Been working professionally since 2005 in the field. I've only ever worked in IT. Haven't had any other jobs at this point. So, yeah, just advancing my career. So,
and been with CatchMark for
a little over a year and almost a year and a half. So,
gotcha.
Yeah.
And CatchMark, I would say, discovered you through other relationships. And
yeah, I worked for kind of a competitor that was supporting CatchMark at the time, and just got to have a better relationship with you. And when my career ended there, it was like, okay, let's look for a new opportunity. And I think that the best opportunities are through who you know, and
yep.
That's how I got started here. So,
and you may not know this, but you actually followed a very common, we'll say, path to CatchMark. We talked about bringing you on board. You turned me down.
Yep.
And then at a later date, you came back and we talked again. And that time you accepted the offer. That's the same thing that I did to Brent when he tried to hire me. And it's actually the same thing that he did to Rick and Chris, our other partners, when they tried to hire him. So very common.
Yeah.
So let's talk about why you guys got into technology. So when you were, finishing up school or trying to decide what you wanted to do career-wise, what was it that drew you to tech, Curtis?
Well, I've just always been fascinated with tech. I think it's a lot of fun to play with. I found it. It always came pretty easy to me. It just was something I've been interested in since I was a little kid.
Gotcha. And I've touched on it earlier, but you didn't intend on doing tech support originally, right? What did you think of like prior to coming to CatchMark that you wanted to do?
Software development.
Okay. And once you interned with us as part of your bachelor program,
mm-hmm.
and then somehow we've convinced you to stay with us. What changed once you started doing the tech support that really interested you to explore this further in this part of the industry?
Well, it's not quite what I imagined. I worked in customer service at a gas station while I was in college, and that's kind of what turned me off to dealing with customer service, which is why I didn't want to do tech support. But dealing with customers that actually value what you do, it's a lot different than working at a gas station. So,
okay, and that I will say too that we get often negative feedback more than we get positive feedback. But I think we've shared a lot of the feedback that's been received from customers for both of you guys, that you're really good at your job. And that's very much appreciated by the customers and I think your teammates and definitely myself. How about you, Seth? What interests you in tech when you were?
So I have been very interested in technology since an early age. Got my first computer when I was 10 years old and built it myself, and just have always been driven to kind of solve the problem. So tried to stick with careers where I could do that. And it's been a lot of, going through technical support for dial-up way back when, and working my way into managed services and working with more professional clients. And yeah, it's been nice to just be able to help people. So
I enjoy talking to, a lot of the team now. I feel like the old guy here, but like when I was in high school, the whole computer internet stuff, like I'm really dating myself here, but like I can remember my senior year in high school, we would do a research paper. We go into the library, you give the librarian your topic, and it spits out 50 pages on the old dot matrix printers, right? That's what that world looked like for me. So in talking to younger guys like you about how you get into tech, you guys had a much different, I guess you'd say, upbringing, or way better exposure to it, more exposure to it than like I did, and that just continues to go that way. Like my son, I mean, all the kids have a Chromebook now, and it's just,
I mean, I was, being 10 years old and having my own computer, that certainly was not the norm at that time. And my dad worked at a local internet company, and so we had free internet, free dial-up. And so I was able to, at an early age, be connected to the internet and, just learning and growing in a way that you just couldn't if you didn't have those tools available. So,
right.
Yeah, definitely. I've been set up for success. So,
yep, that makes sense. The next question I have is, again, we're going to kind of bounce back and forth with both of you guys, but what are a couple things that you enjoy, not just on the customer service side, but it could even be specific to working for CatchMark and working with our customers that maybe differ from previous experience, or, for Curtis, who this is, this is the only place you've worked in this capacity, but what are some of the things that you maybe came in thinking, oh, I'm not going to like this, but it's actually better than you expected?
Well, like I said, just having customers that actually appreciate what you do for them makes a big difference. Because they come to you with a problem, you're not going to be happy, but you fix it for them, and that makes them happy.
Right. And what are some of the keys that you found in keeping those customers happy?
Just trying to be understanding of their problems, and try not to laugh when the problem is overwhelmingly simple.
Like if somebody's having problems with their monitor and it's because it's not plugged in?
Yeah, that could be, Or the computer's not working well, and it's because the mouse I installed the previous day.
Right. What about you, Seth?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yes. The question again is, what are some of the things that you enjoy about working at CatchMark or with our customers, or some things that maybe you found once you got into this area that were not as bad as you anticipated?
So having worked at 3 other managed service providers, I kind of come to this with a more unique perspective of like other competitors in our area. And I value the fact that I'm on a team of people that is caring and intelligent, both in how their technical skill sets, but also in their like emotional intelligence. Being able to just know that my opinion is valued both by everybody on the team, all the way up to upper management, I think that matters a lot. And just knowing that at the end of the day, we pick the right customers, where we're not trying to intentionally service a customer that may not be a good fit for us, where we have great customers and it shows. So it's always a joy to go to work. So
yeah, that's a good example. We do really value all of our customers, but the way that we operate internally with our culture, I think the way that we handle those relationships between the communication, I mean, outside of obviously communicating with the customers and their service desk tickets, but whether it's from just reaching out to them and making sure that we're doing a good job, or if we can do better, setting up whether it's a monthly or a quarterly meeting with them. I don't have any experience in the MSP world outside of CatchMark, but in all the reading and research I've done, I think that's one of the areas that we definitely put more focus on. And it's one of the things that I hear from customers quite often, that they do really know that we care, and it's not just like we're taking their money and just, upset and frustrated because all users are dumb. So, let's see. So one of the other things that's a little different about your guys' role, is often in the MSP world, you have the level 1 help desk people. Mm-hmm. So, for the people listening, that's you call with your issue. They don't really have a lot of tech experience. They're fairly new, or maybe they're not even technical people. They're just logging the tickets, passing it on to level 2 and 3. And then those are the people that are actually doing most of the work. We don't have the level 1 people. Our stuff goes right to level 2 and 3. And again, great feedback from our customers about the advantages of that, because we've all been there, right? Frustrated with the first person that's just asking the questions. But share your thoughts on that approach with being kind of all the different levels and how that helps customers. Seth?
Yeah, so I have been at organizations where we've had like that level 1 tech, and I think the area in which it causes a little bit of a disconnect with the client is sometimes they just don't know the client as well, and it's hard for them to really grow that like relational experience in their environment. Mm-hmm. Whereas our focus at CatchMark, we really do have our engineers know our clients backwards, forwards, all the way through. And then being able to have, an engineer that is their dedicated point person who really can run the entirety of, projects, technical support, all of it. And when you have that understanding and that person is able to kind of run the play all the way through, it really just provides a lot better support on everything.
One thing you mentioned there too is around each of the different environments. So tech is not the same everywhere, right? Like an environment for one customer, even though they have computers and servers and network devices, those environments can be very different to support, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, Curtis, what do you think about that? What are some of the advantages you think of having the guys like you that are the level 2, 3 support and not having that level 1?
I would agree with Seth. I think it's something that a lot of customers really value. It helps you build a good relationship with the customer, and it helps you obviously know the environment a lot better. A lot of times when you're dealing with companies that have level 1 and level 2, you're talking to someone different every time, and you basically have to teach them the whole environment every time you submit a ticket or talk to anybody, and it just makes it take a lot longer to resolve issues, whether big or small, and it just adds complications that are unnecessary.
Yep. The other part that I feel that it helps is not only are the environments different, but the customer's expectations and we'll call it their understanding of technology varies. So, I mean, Curtis supports our dairy farms, and his customers, as these guys they're dairy managers. Their focus is not on worrying about the technology. They need to make sure that their cows are all getting milked and taken care of. And these are not small farms. Like, I mean, some of them have thousands of cows, right?
Yeah.
And you can imagine a guy in that situation where he doesn't want to know the technology. Mm. He just wants to know that when it's broke, he calls Curtis, and Curtis is going to fix it, right?
Yeah. Just wants it to be fixed.
Right. Which again sounds very simple, but you would be surprised how some companies, some of our competitors just really seem to struggle with what seems so basic to us. Yeah. So in addition to the support, you guys also do what we refer to as solutions work. So again, even further changing what the normal jobs look like. So the support piece, taking the tickets, talking to customers, resolving those issues, but solutions, that is a big part of what we do. And we do that for some of the same customers we do support, but we also do that for customers that we don't do tech support. They may have their own in-house, but they just need a hand with a project. And that could be rolling out new network devices, or one of the very common ones that we've seen lately is implementation of Microsoft Teams. Okay. So as that continues to evolve, they will come to us and just ask, hey, can you help us roll this out? So let's talk about Teams a little bit. We'll start with Seth. Share a little background on Teams as far as some of the different capabilities that it offers. And Curtis, jump in if he misses anything or you want to interject.
Yeah, so for those who aren't aware, Microsoft Teams is a collaboration tool that Microsoft has developed. Allows you to do instant messaging between your team, but also builds in native file collaboration tools. So you can share a file between somebody, you can work on things simultaneously, you can send them out externally. It allows you to have storage for documents, as well as just they keep adding to the stack of features. So, you look at Microsoft Teams as it was 5 years ago versus today, it's almost a completely different product because they just keep adding value to that product as time goes on, because they listen to their customers and they say, well, what do you guys need? How do I make that work in Teams?
Right.
So it's been really nice to be able to leverage a lot of those feature sets for clients, helping them, identify a better way to do file storage, for example, rather than a traditional file server. Well, maybe you put it in SharePoint through Teams. And
right.
It's been very nice to just have those tools readily available, with your Office subscription. So,
yep. Yeah. Curtis, anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically just brings everything together in one location for, so say you have a project you're working on. So you want, you got your files associated with that, people you need to communicate. So, with regards to that, your calendar, also, basically everything related to that. And it's accessible in one specific spot. So you just get into there and you have, you see your planner, you can see your tasks you're missing or whatever you've got due. And it's just all in one place. It makes it really convenient. And it's a powerful tool.
Yeah, they've kind of pulled a lot of their great tools into one pane of glass, right?
Yeah.
Like you mentioned SharePoint and messaging. So again, going to date myself a little bit, but like Skype, right? It was a standalone. It was just messaging, did it all itself. Well, now that's pulled in, and like Curtis said, you can see all of like your project management tools and your email and all of the different teams and channels. Great collaboration tool. We use it. I feel we use it pretty heavily. I think there's areas and pieces to it, like you said, Seth, that are new that we have to continue to stay on top of, both for ourselves and for our customers. But really a collaboration tool that has helped with the way that the world has changed, right? Like, yeah. I mean, remote work has been around for a long time, but obviously COVID sped that up quite a bit. During COVID, that's where we did a lot of projects around implementation of Teams and other ways to allow customers to work virtually to still get their work done.
Yeah, I would say another area that's just worth mentioning is like Microsoft's kind of investment in allowing it to be a platform that can be developed for. So like any company can go and develop add-ins directly for Teams. So you can just build out products for your organization uniquely for you in the Teams environment.
So like vacation tracker.
Exactly. Like there's just add-ons where you can just, if the functionality doesn't exist today through native Teams, you can usually find an add-in to get you that functionality. So
yeah, and I agree, it's a great approach. One that Microsoft could have easily just been like, well, we're going to control the whole environment, right? If you want to do this, you do it this way, you do it this way. But I think that's a good approach, being open-minded from them to let the business kind of dictate what tools they need and how it works for them.
It's basically the Android version of software.
Right. Instead of, so yeah, that's what it's like to use an Android instead of an iPhone, right? There it is. All right. So when we do those different solutions and those projects, you guys have a lot going on a daily basis, just between the number of customers we support, the number of issues, and then you have to deal with all of the internal stuff as far as our internal meetings and one-to-one meetings and team meetings, and making sure you're accounting for your time and your credit card purchases and all the other stuff. And then on top of that, you have to also do project work. How hard is it to balance all of that? And do you prefer it that way versus if you were just doing one or the other?
I would say it depends on the project. There's been a couple of projects where maybe we didn't get the right information from a customer, or the timelines are very tight, and that can make it a bit difficult, but for the most part, it's generally quite manageable. So
Okay. Curtis?
Yeah, I mean, I like doing it. I don't want to do the same thing day in, day out for sure. I'd say I prefer project work just because I like to build something new as opposed to fixing something that's broken.
Yeah.
I like to change it up though. So I kind of like a balance.
And I think one of the benefits to it is continuing to grow, right? Like if you're going to be in the tech world, you have to want to learn more. You can't just say, oh, well, I know my area and I don't have to take any certifications or any training or learn anything new, because everything's moving so fast. And I feel that having you guys involved with those projects and learning new things like that does mix it up and give you more of a variety. But it also allows you to learn more things, to continue to grow yourself, and helps everybody. Is there any area where you feel that you wouldn't want to focus on if you didn't have to? Like, what is, like, Jeff, I don't mind helping with networking stuff, but if I never had to configure another firewall, I would not be disappointed. Start with Curtis this time.
Not really. I kind of I like to do a little of everything.
Okay.
I like to learn everything. Not a huge fan of SQL, I guess, but
It takes a special person to be a DBA.
Yeah,
It really does.
not for me. But yeah, I'd say not really anything I don't want to do necessarily.
Okay, good answer. Seth?
I would definitely say writing code, just from scratch programming.
Yep.
That's not something I'm interested in.
No, I remember when I was finishing up my degree and looking at some of that in those classes as electives, and it's like, nope, I'm good staying away from that. In the first episode of this season, I had Bob and Phil on with me, and we talked in that episode, which is available on our YouTube channel, about the need to be a generalist to be good at what we do for our customers. And to catch everybody up, often in IT, it's very siloed. So you've got your desk side team, you've got your networking team, you've got your server team, and there's not a lot of crossover. But with what we do, you've got to be dangerous enough in all those areas, right?
Yeah.
Have you had experience being like in a siloed environment where you only took care of one of those things? And if so, did you like that? Or, I don't think Curtis has, but would you ever consider wanting to work in an environment like that? Or once you've been in this environment, are you like, there's no way I could do that again?
So I think depending on the implementation is really how it matters. So I've been in those types of situations with previous employers, and really, if the collaboration between the teams isn't good, like if you don't have effective communication methods, if you don't have effective project management where you can easily hand work between them, that's where it falls apart. So when it's done right, yeah, I see no problem with it. But when it's not implemented good, I'd like to stay away from that.
Yeah, I would agree. I saw that because I worked in a very siloed environment. And while there, I didn't know that anything else existed. And so once I left that and saw the MSP world where there's people that are good at a lot of different things instead of one thing, part of me was like, man, I wish I would have found this sooner. Like,
Yeah.
maybe I wouldn't have been in my mid 40s before I configured a network switch or made my first, network cable. So, Curtis, what about you? What do you think?
I mean, I've never worked in one like that, but I don't think I would like it. I like to kind of see things through.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would have a hard time handing it off. I'd step on a lot of toes, I think.
Yeah. Yep. And like I said, I was there and I got frustrated at times because I just want to get things done for the customers, right? Yeah. And if I don't have network switch access to make the change that's needed, now I get to a certain point and I have to stop. And now I'm waiting on somebody else. Yeah. And it's like, just let's get the work done and taken care of, right?
Yeah.
All right. So got to make sure we get in a plug here. Curtis, why don't you let everybody know a little bit about your dad's business?
My dad owns a chicken coop in Muskegon Heights. Pretty much the best chicken around. Just came from there today, actually.
Nice.
Pretty awesome.
I can't eat chicken. It's a crazy allergy thing.
They got
So
fish.
yeah. Oh, I know they do. But yeah, he's came out and done some events for us. Does a lot for the Montague football games as well. At the time we're recording this, he recently just opened back up after a little fire, closed down for a couple months, right?
Yeah. It was right around Christmas time when they had a fire in the hood system. But didn't lose too much, but they had to redo a lot of stuff. They had to have the fryers rebuilt and do a bunch of cleaning and replace a few other things. Obviously, the hood system.
Yeah.
But yeah, they just opened up on Tuesday, and I mean, business has been good.
Yeah, the video of one of the local news stations out there talking to people, like, they love the chicken coop, and it's been there a long time and definitely a big part of the community. So if you're in the Muskegon area, go check out Wayne. He's a great guy, and check out the chicken coop. Anything else you guys want to touch on today before we wrap it up?
Nothing I can think of.
No, Curtis?
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
You got all you wanted to talk about in today?
I'm good, yeah.
All right, because I mean, I'm willing to go a little bit over the planned time here.
I was really looking forward to this, so I'm
Right. Yeah. So I do appreciate you guys coming in and talking with me in this episode. Again, just another crazy thing that I ask of you guys, but thanks so much. Hopefully those who are watching it extend beyond our families and friends, and you found this information helpful and learned more about CatchMark. Check out our YouTube channel. Prior and future episodes are going to be posted there. We have a lot of different channels as well, whether it's CMT Eats or CatchMark Sportsnet. We really try to share a lot of different information out there, not just about CatchMark, but about the communities that we are a part of. So thanks to Seth and Curtis for joining me once again. My name is Jeff Burel, and this has been All About Technology. Till next time.